Jess Phillips.
Mr. Speaker, I very much wish to talk about a general election, as the right honourable gentleman before me has criticised others for not doing so. I want to, I suppose, speak really, really plainly and say that tonight I will absolutely vote against a general election, just like I would vote against pretty much anything the current Prime Minister put in front of me, because they have I'm going to warn, Mr. Speaker, that I'm not cracking on the old parliamentary, the protocols and everything, and I fear I may say some things that are unparliamentary. Please feel free to alert me to them. I have absolutely no faith in anything that the current Prime Minister says. Literally none. I wouldn't trust him. Am I allowed to say that? I wouldn't trust him. As well, I mean, there's literally no distance that I could trust him. No, so yes, members on the other side say so. Stand in an election. I have absolutely no fear that I would hold my seat in an election. Absolutely none whatsoever. However, the Prime Minister does not. The Prime Minister that we have at the moment is playing some bully boy game of some bully boy public school that I probably won't understand any more than I understand parliamentary procedures. And I am absolutely... Sorry, would the honourable gentleman like to make an intervention? Crack on.
Order. The honourable lady says that she doesn't understand parliamentary procedure, but on the whole she doesn't shriek from a sedentary position. The honourable gentleman has been in this House for 14 years. If he wishes to contribute, he can seek to catch my eye. He shouldn't chunter from a sedentary position in evident disregard for the procedures of the House. Jess Phillips.
Women over there, John.
So the reality is that what we have here is a game where we're not being told what the rules are. The Prime Minister could bring a deal to this House. He could tell us what his plans are for Northern Ireland. He could tell us what his plans are for trade. And I will give way in one moment. And he could... Yesterday I watched Conservative colleagues begging him to tell them what he wanted. Begging him. Yeah, sure, a bit, Bab. I saw colleagues begging him to say, give us a deal to vote for. This is not... The Prime Minister has stood in front and said, I don't want an election, I don't want an election. This is some game that three men in Parliament, in number 10 Downing Street, have come up with to try and game the system so that they win. The people in my democratic responsibility is to try and do the absolute best for the people in my constituency. And at the moment, it's not all that clear. We're all a little bit confused. But I am absolutely not going to use them as a chitty in a game for the Prime Minister to achieve the ambition that he has only ever had for himself and never for this country. I am not going to use my constituents as collateral damage. I will give way.
Lady, forgive me, it's clear. And one of the things that people watching this should be aware of is that we all know in here they want a cut-and-run election. The election they don't want is the 14th or the 21st of November. That's the election that we'll take them out on.
I absolutely agree, and I will not personally, I will not vote for any election that falls before the 31st of October. I absolutely will.
I'd like to thank my honourable friend for giving way, and I also will not be voting for a general election today because I do not want in any way for a no deal in this country, because it will not only harm my constituents, it will harm the 22,000 EU nationals who are living in my constituency. We have in this country the Home Secretary saying that the freedom of movement will end at midnight on the 31st of October, which means that my EU citizen...
I mean, I couldn't agree with my honourable lady more. There are thousands of EU migrants in my constituency, and lots of them have absolutely no idea what the situation is going to be for them. I have to represent those people as much as I represent the people who would be allowed to vote in a general election or allowed to vote in a referendum. Go on.
grateful for the honourable lady giving way. Isn't the truth that both her and many of her colleagues don't want a general election because they're as scared as we are of the Leader of the Opposition becoming Prime Minister?
I'm more than happy. Let's make no bones about the fact that I am not able to be completely critical when I think things are wrong, both in my party and in your the governing party. It's just a shame that quite a lot of the people who are sat in front of me, who know what has happened over the last 2 days is wrong, are too cowardly to actually say to me in here, in public, what they're all saying in the tea rooms. You know what has happened over here. It's as if we were kicking out Harriet Harman. That is what it feels like. It is an abomination the way your party has behaved. Absolutely. You've all crowed and given sympathy to me about the problems that we have in the Labour Party, and you've just sat by silently while your colleagues have been marched out.
You're giving way. Very well. Yes. Indeed.
Thank the Honourable Lady for giving way. And the point she makes about the fact that how the party on that side has treated its very loyal members of Parliament, whatever else might have said, I think it's unheard of in parliamentary history that an MP who's voted against his party to have the whip suspended. That is a bully boy tactic.
I'm going to round up my comments. I agree entirely. I'm going to speak for Brenda in Bristol, although there's plenty of Brendas in Birmingham. And I'm going to speak for Brenda in Bristol, and the reason that I don't think that we should have a general election and the reason I won't vote for it is because I think, actually, we shouldn't go on conference recess. We shouldn't be proroguing Parliament. We are currently in a national crisis. This is not a game. This is not some toy that we can play with. The British public think that we should... I'm not going to give way anymore. I apologise. I have given way plenty of time. The British public, if you were to go out into the street and ask them, they think that we should be in here doing our jobs. They think that we're away from here too often anyway. I am appalled by the prorogation, and from now on, let's call it shutting down of Parliament, because I literally hate the word prorogation, and the people outside probably don't understand what we're talking about half the time. The shutting down of Parliament has essentially killed a bill that I have worked on for 2.5 years, something that people in this House have deeply held feelings on, and I'm meant to believe that the Prime Minister is really doing this because he has a vision for the people in this country. He has a vision that comes to him every night, and it is his own face. I will vote against an election until the end of October, until this is sorted, because the British public want me here working for them, and that is what I will do.